Hey guys, welcome back to the CWC. As usual, I am so excited to have you guys here with me. So, on today's episode, we are going to talk about the importance of dating yourself and to know when to let go. Imagine someone hurt you and you sitting around asking them, "What did I do wrong?" with tears falling down your face. Pathetic.
I get a bag and you know I go missing. I gotta stack up a mill in a minute. I gotta stack up a mill in a minute. In a minute, yeah. I gotta stack up a mill in a minute.
Just pathetic. If you can let someone or something that's hurting you go, then you don't love yourself as much as you thought. You might want to revisit the self love department. But, anyways, when you find yourself in a situation where you know you should let someone go, but for some reason you can't, that is a sign of lack of self love. Because anything that is hurting you should not be hard to let it go. So, the fact that you are holding on to that person, it means that you need to work on your self love and you need to do some deep self reflecting. So, how do you start? Make a list of pros and cons of the entire situation, and most likely the cons will outweigh the pros. Otherwise, you wouldn't be crying over that person. That person wouldn't be hurting you if the pros outweighs the cons. So, obviously, the math is not mathing. Personally, I go through a phase of deep cleaning after every failed relationship or friendship. So, what I do is I take a 6 months to a year break, and during that phase, I heal, journal, self reflect, self improve, and rebuild my confidence. Because let's be honest, if you're someone who's sitting around asking the person who's hurting you, "What did I do wrong?" obviously that's going to mess with your confidence and you are going to need to take your time to build that back up. So, how do you start spending time with yourself, you ask? I got you. So, I know it's a scary thought to go out there by yourself, whether it's at a restaurant, a bar, or a cafe, but it has to be done. Personally, when I first started doing that, I started off by going to cafes. I would just buy a coffee and sit down and just start journaling because the thought of sitting there and just staring into space was scary AF. Okay, so I was like, no, I'm gonna bring my journal. At least I'm gonna have something to do while I'm there without having to make eye contact with people, without having to look crazy. So that's what I did. But then as I kept going, then I got comfortable where I start looking around, looking at the scenery, whether it's a beautiful weather outside or the design of the place, the smell of the coffee or the food. Like I literally start observing everything because I was in the space where I was actually paying attention to my surrounding as opposed to paying attention to whoever's in front of me. So that is the awakening that you need sometimes. You need to realize, oh my gosh, I have been missing out. A lot of times, some people say, I'm a relationship kind of person. I don't know how to be single. I feel lonely when I'm single. It is because you don't know how to spend time with yourself. You never have. You jump from one relationship to another, from one failed friendship to another. Therefore, you never spend time with yourself. So, of course, you don't know how to be alone. You don't even know what your hobbies are. You don't know what you like to do on your own time. Now, I'm not talking about sleeping. We all love to sleep. But I'm talking about what is something that you enjoy doing by yourself and you feel alive, you feel so good, you feel like the world could shut down and you could live by yourself because you have those hobbies. That's what I'm talking about. The kind of things that even if there's nobody around you, you'll be absolutely fine. Now, when I say spend time with yourself, that can also be getting a massage, meditating, or swimming, whatever it is that you want to do on your own timing. But here is why I say take yourself out on dates. Very important. Treat that date the same way you would treat a date with somebody else because I don't want you to just half-ass it. You're not gonna throw on your sweats and go out there because if you were meeting someone, you would not throw on your sweats and go out there. You would want to impress that person. You would want to make a first impression. So of course you would do your best to look good for the part. So I want you to do the same thing for yourself. Okay. You are going to get dressed and you are going to take yourself on dates. And you are going to put as much effort as you do when you are going on dates with other people. Because I never understood how one can have so much respect for somebody else, but you won't show yourself the same kind of respect. And when you take yourself on those dates, anything that you would not do if you were on a date with somebody else, I forbid you from doing it to yourself. Things like being on your phone. You wouldn't do that with somebody else, right? For example, I want you to talk to yourself while you're on that date. Now, I'm not saying to literally open your mouth and say words. You could literally just be having a conversation in your head. You're planning out your life 5 years from now. You can have a conversation with your future self and plan on where you want to be in the next 5 years or so. Or you can have a conversation with your past self and reflect and just telling her how proud you are of her, the fact that she made it this far, and just apologizing to her for the times that you were too hard on her, for all the times that you wanted to give up on her. Those kind of things are important, guys. Like, as much as we want to move from the past, but sometimes it's important to reflect, to look back, because not only does that help you to grow, but that also help you to forgive yourself and appreciate where you are. Because a lot of the things that you have currently, your past self never thought that you guys would ever have these kind of things. Your past self never thought you would be thinking the way that you're thinking right now. So sometimes it is important to look back and say, oh my gosh, girl, look how far we've come from. We did this. We did it. A lot of things people thought we couldn't do, we did it. And you cannot have this conversation when you are with somebody else. Because if you are on a date with someone else, you are constantly having conversation because you want to make sure they don't feel ignored. You want to make sure they don't feel like you're not interested. You always catering to that person's needs on those dates. So on the dates with yourself, I want you to do the same thing. Cater to your needs. Look within, ask yourself questions and try to answer them, because at the end of the day, your future self have questions, your past self have questions, then you right now you have questions. So why not try to answer them for yourself, because nobody else can answer those questions but you. You have been with yourself from the day you were born, and you are going to be with yourself till the day that you die. So there is no better friendship than the one that you will have with yourself. You have to nurture it, you have to appreciate it, and you have to make sure that you are always in contact with yourself. Because the moment you lose sight of your inner self and who you are, what you stand for, your values, and the things that you love, then you're not gonna know what to expect. Because how do you know how you want to be treated when you have never treated yourself? Because in order for you to know how you want to be treated, you have to start treating yourself as such. And remember, you teach people how to treat you. So if you're not taking yourself on dates, you can expect people to take you on dates. And even if people do take you on dates, those dates are probably mediocre AF. But the fact that you've never taken yourself on dates, you don't know it's mediocre. You think, oh my gosh, she bought me a bouquet on date night. Oh my gosh, she's taking me to that restaurant. You are easily impressed when you don't know what you want. You are easily impressed when you don't hold yourself to a certain standard. So you set the standards, you teach people how to treat you, and you go from there. Everything starts within, from self confidence, self esteem, self love, self improvement. All of that you have to do the inner work before it can show on your physical appearance. It takes work, and you are not going to get those work done if all you do is jump from one person to another person. If all you do is go out with friends and boyfriends because you are scared to spend time by yourself, you will always feel incomplete because you always need somebody else to complete you. When in reality, if you just sit back and start taking yourself out on dates, you are going to notice so much about yourself that you have never noticed before. You are going to learn so much about you that you are going to evolve into an entire different person. Certain things you probably think you enjoy right now, if you spend time with yourself, you're gonna realize, I don't even like doing this. I only used to do it because so and so liked it. Wait a minute, I don't even like this food. I was only eating it because so and so liked it. And those things happen without you realizing, because you spend so much time with people to the point you don't even know what you want, because you never sit back and ask yourself, what do I want? And that's also going to help you with your standards and what you want in the future. You are going to be so much more precise about everything that you want in life. Who do you want to be 5 years from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? What kind of house do you own? What kind of car do you drive? What is your partner like? Does he understand your love languages? Does he cater to your needs? Does it listen to you? Does it have the qualities that you want? All of these questions are going to get an answer once you spend time dating yourself, journaling, creating pros and cons, things that you like, things that you don't like, things that you have accepted in the past, things that you will never accept again. Your boundaries are going to be set and clear. You are not going to budge about it because now you're a new person. You're an improved person. You're an improved version of yourself. You know who you are. You know exactly what you want. You've had tons and tons of conversation with your past self and your future self. Now you are a different woman, but let me tell you, once you've done the work and you've been dating yourself, you are going to see how much harder it is going to be to date other people because everything's gonna seem like the bare minimum to you. You're not gonna be easily impressed anymore. Now you know who you are. You're a brand new person. You're confident. You walk in the room and you know exactly who you are, what you bring to the table. And you are not necessarily looking to fill your seat at the table. You are comfortable sitting at the table alone. Therefore, anyone who wants to sit at that table going to have to prove themselves. They are going to prove to you that they are valuable enough to be in your presence. They are going to have to prove that they are valuable enough to interrupt your time with yourself. They need to give you a valuable reason why you should let them interrupt that date that you're having with yourself. Because at this point, this is all you do now. Now, this is a thing. We have those moments with ourselves now. Anyone who wants to get involved or engage with us, they are going to have to prove themselves valuable enough to. Because again, we're not scared of sitting by ourselves and enjoy that meal by ourselves. Okay? And that's also going to teach you how to let go of things and people that are hurting you. Because once you know yourself enough and love yourself enough, you've done the work to improve yourself, you are going to know that you don't deserve anybody who is hurting you, anybody who is bringing you down, anybody who don't believe in you, anybody who is mistreating you, manipulating you, abusing you, regardless the form of abuse, you are going to know you don't deserve any of that because you've been spending time with yourself and you know exactly how you want to feel when you are involved with somebody. You know exactly who you want to be with that person. You know what you want your mood to be like. You know what you want your hobbies to be like. You've already figured out whether or not you want to get married and have kids. All of that is figured out. And that goes for people who are in relationships as well. It's important to keep your identity even in a relationship because at the end of the day, being married to someone doesn't mean that you let go of who you are. Doesn't mean letting go of your own identity. Because at the end of the day, your partner fell in love with who you are on your own before you guys combine together. So you need to remember that person. You need to keep nurturing that person. Keep that person alive. Make sure that person is improving every day because this is the person your partner vow to spend the rest of his life with. And let's face it, you cannot last forever if there's no improving and there's no nurturing. Everything in life needs improvement and nurturing. Otherwise, we would still be stuck back in the 12th century. We would not be here today. Yes, we would be in 2024, but our mindset and our way of living would still be based on the 12th century simply because we hadn't been nurturing and improving ourselves. So even though your partner fell in love with you and decided to get married to you and stay with you forever, I'm sure your partner would love to see an improved version of you. Everybody loves improved stuff. Otherwise, why do you make a case to get the new iPhone every year? Because you know something about it is going to be improved. Whether it's the camera, the amount of space it has, you know there is improvement. That's why you look forward to a new one every year. So it is the same way in any relationship, whether that's with yourself or with a partner. You have to keep nurturing yourself and improving yourself. So I want you guys to commit to spending time with yourself. You cannot commit to somebody else unless you commit to yourself. You cannot properly love somebody else unless you properly love yourself. You cannot grow with somebody unless you are growing yourself as well. Like I said, everything starts within and it starts with you. So anything that you may be looking for in somebody else, make sure you have that thing in you first. You are looking for a friend in somebody else, make sure you have a friend in you. Because like I said, you have been with yourself from the day you were born, and you are going to be with yourself till the day that you die. So you better get comfortable and make this relationship with yourself as good as possible because You guys are stuck with each other. So on that note, I hope a lot of you guys are going to start spending time with yourself and do the self-work that is needed, because you cannot pour into others if you are empty. I'll leave you guys with that, and I will see you guys on the next episode. And if you guys do start going out with yourself, please tag me on social media and let me know you guys are doing it. I would love to see some of you guys taking the initiative and really going out there to date yourself and get to know yourself on a deeper level. It'll be life changing, I promise you. I have been doing it. If you guys follow me on social media, I know some of you guys can see it. Sometimes I do mini vlogs on my dates with myself, and just to give you guys a little insight so that you guys can see that yes, it is frightening, but it is also possible. Everything is possible. You just have to find a way to do it. You just have to have the courage to do it. Every journey that leads you to the most beautiful destinations are often intimidating. I promise once you've done the journey and established a relationship with yourself, you are going to see the most beautiful view ever. And that will be you every time you stare at yourself in the mirror. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.
I get a bag and you know I go missing. I gotta stack up a million a minute. I gotta stack up a million a minute.